Welcome back to Dead Vision. Another letter just dropped. Longer, heavier, and definitely not friendly. Tonight's story is called Don't Open. Let's see how far you'd make it. I found the first letter in the middle of November. Fall of '79 was as dull as ever. When I checked the morning mail, there was only one envelope in my box. Yellowed, the corners bent, no stamp, no name. Just my apartment number, 4B. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed on a typewriter, one sentence. Don't open your door tonight. Short, simple, and for some reason, a little unsettling. Who would send this? Why no stamp? And why that message? We're already off to a great start, didn't we? I put the letter in my pocket and walked back upstairs. My place on the fourth floor was small, but it was enough for me. 3 years out of college, working at an accounting office downtown, living a predictable routine. Maybe that's why the note bothered me. It didn't fit into my day. Routine breaks, paranoia enters. Classic? That night an old movie was on TV. Around 10, someone knocked on my door. I got up and walked over. My hand was on the door handle when the warning popped into my head again. Don't open your door tonight. I know it sounds strange, but I stopped. I leaned in and looked through the peephole. No one. Just the empty, brightly lit hallway. Of course no one's there. It's never that easy. Who knocked then? I stepped back. I didn't open the door. Not that night. Smartest decision he made all week. The next morning I woke up at my usual time, made breakfast, and went to work. During lunch I ran into Michael. He lived in the same building, in 3A. Evelyn was with him. She was from the first floor. They were talking in the cafeteria, so I sat with them. Something weird happened last night, I said. I told them about the letter. They both laughed. Yeah, laughing helps until it doesn't. Someone's messing with you, Michael said. Who else could it be? Maybe Norman? That guy does strange things all the time. Norman was the building's caretaker on the ground floor. Old, grumpy, didn't talk much. But I couldn't picture him doing a joke like this. Caretakers never joke. That's their whole personality. Evelyn looked more serious. Maybe it's a warning, she said. Maybe someone's trying to tell you something. What do you mean? I asked. I don't know. But be careful, she said. When work ended, I went straight home. I didn't even check the mail that evening. But around midnight, curiosity started to bother me. I couldn't sleep at all. At 6 in the morning, I got up and went downstairs. There was another envelope in my mailbox, the same one. Yellowed, no stamp, no name. Inside, don't open your door tonight. Déjà vu with extra anxiety? My heart sped up. Who was doing this? Great question. Shame he never gets a good answer. On my way back upstairs, I saw Norman. He was sweeping the lobby. Norman, I said, did anyone come by last night or early this morning? Anyone leaving things in the mailboxes? He lifted his head and looked at me. No one came, he said. I've been here the whole time. I would have seen them. What about the mailman? The mailman comes at 8. You came down at 6. He was right. So who put the envelope there? Yep, love a mystery with 0 witnesses. I couldn't focus at work that day. Numbers blurred together, files slipped out of my hands. My manager, Richard, noticed. Is something wrong? He asked. No, just a little tired. The universal lie of the collapsing adult. On my way home, I stopped at the market, bought bread, milk, cheese. When I entered the building, I heard music from the second floor. Carol's apartment. She was always listening to the radio. This time it was Fleetwood Mac. Dreams, I think. When I reached the fourth floor, I saw someone in the hallway. A man I didn't know. Middle-aged, wearing a gray suit. He was standing right in front of my door. "Can I help you?" I asked. He turned around. Nothing familiar in his face. Pale, blank expression. His eyes looked at me in a strange way. "Perfect. Random hallway man. Nothing creepy about that." "Wrong floor," he said. "Sorry." He walked past me and headed for the stairs. His steps were quick as he went down. I just stood there with the grocery bag in my hand. Who was he? And why had he been standing in front of my door? Yeah, totally normal behavior. Absolutely nothing suspicious. That night the door was knocked on again. Exactly at 11. This time I was ready. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. No one. But I noticed something different this time. Right in front of the door, on the doormat, there was a small envelope. I didn't open the door. I waited until morning. At 7 I stepped outside. The envelope was still there. I picked it up, same one. Inside, the same message. "Don't open your door tonight." At this point, the door should file a restraining order. 3 nights in a row. But now something had changed. The letters weren't showing up in my mailbox anymore. They were appearing directly at my door in the evening. Upgraded delivery service. Congratulations. Friday was our building meeting. We held one on the last Friday of every month. We gathered in the small sitting room on the ground floor. Norman, Evelyn, Michael, Carol, James, and his wife Laura from the third floor, Thomas from the fifth, and me, of course. The meeting was as boring as always. Fees, cleaning, shared spaces. Eventually I couldn't take it anymore. "I want to ask something," I said. "I've been getting strange letters the past few days. Someone has been leaving them in my mailbox. No name, no stamp. Just one warning. Don't open your door tonight." Great. Nothing spices up a boring meeting like a potential stalker. The room went quiet. Everyone looked at me. "I got one too," Michael said. I was shocked. "What? You did?" 2 days ago, same thing. Yellow envelope, typewriter writing. Carol leaned forward. "I've been getting them for 3 days." James and Laura exchanged a look. "So have we," James said. "But we didn't take it seriously. We thought it was a joke." Yeah, nothing says harmless joke like synchronized warning letters. Only Evelyn and Thomas hadn't received any. Evelyn lived on the first floor, and Thomas lived on the fifth, the top floor, right under the roof. Norman didn't say anything, he just listened. Classic Norman, always listening, never helping. "So who's doing this?" Carol asked. "And why?" "I have an idea," James said. "A new guy moved in last month, 6th floor, the small room next to the roof door. Anyone seen him?" No one had. Not even heard of him. Perfect. Mystery tenant achieves full ghost mode. "What do you mean?" I asked. "Someone moved in and nobody saw him?" "I know it sounds strange," James said, "but the key was taken. Norman, you handed it over, right?" Norman nodded. "Yes. The man came, took the key, went upstairs. We didn't talk." "What did he look like?" I asked. "I don't remember. Just an ordinary guy." They're always ordinary until they start haunting the building. After the meeting, I didn't feel right. I thought about going up to the 6th floor to check the door, but it was already dark. I went back to my apartment, ate dinner, tried to watch TV, but my mind kept returning to the letters. Yeah, TV never wins against paranoia. Around 10, Michael called me. "Did you check your door?" he asked. "No? Why?" "I did. There's another envelope, but this one says something different." I hung up and ran to my door. I opened it. There was an envelope on the doormat. My hand shook as I picked it up. Inside, "Don't open your door tomorrow night. This is the last warning." Always comforting to hear. The last warning. I stepped back without thinking, closed the door and locked it. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I looked out the window. The street was empty. Only the streetlights were on. Near dawn I heard something from upstairs. Footsteps, slow, heavy steps. Coming from the 6th floor, maybe. Great. The upstairs cryptid woke up early. I rushed to the door and looked through the peephole. The hallway was completely empty, but the footsteps kept coming. Down the stairs. They reached the 4th floor, stopped, right in front of my door. I held my breath. Nothing, only silence. Silence is always the worst part. Then the footsteps moved again, going down, all the way to the ground floor. At least it doesn't get tired. I stayed by the door until morning. Early Saturday I called Michael. Did you hear anything last night? You mean the footsteps? Yeah, I heard them too. I got scared. I didn't open the door. This isn't normal, Michael. We should call the police. And say what? That we're getting letters? They'll laugh at us. He was right. We didn't have anything solid. It didn't count as a threat. It was just a warning, though we still didn't know about what. Perfect. A mystery with zero useful evidence. In the afternoon, I went to visit Evelyn. Her 1st floor apartment smelled like spices, tea, incense. She had always been into spiritual things. Evelyn, I said, what do you think about these letters? She offered me tea and we sat down. I don't know, she said, but I feel something. Something's happening in this building. It didn't used to be like this. What do you mean? This place used to feel more alive. People seemed happier. But for the last few months there's been a heaviness. Don't you feel it? I actually did. The building had always been quiet, always gloomy, but I blamed it on apartment life. Now that she said it, she was right. Something had changed. Great, even the vibe has depression now. What do you know about the man on the 6th floor? Nothing. No one's seen him. But at night there are sounds, little thumps, faint dragging noises, like something is being pulled across the floor. Amazing. Exactly what you want to hear about your upstairs neighbor. I got chills. I was ready that night. I wasn't going to open the door, no matter what. But I kept wondering who was coming, and why was I being told not to open it? Great! Love a mystery with homework. At 9 I turned off the TV. I switched off the lights in my apartment. Only the yellow glow from the hallway slipped in under the door. I sat beside it and waited. Around 10, the footsteps started. From above, from the 6th floor, coming down. With every step, the stairs creaked. Perfect horror acoustics, straight from the universe. 5th floor, then getting close to the 4th. My heart was pounding. I leaned toward the peephole and looked. A man was standing there, wearing the same gray suit, the stranger I had seen before. He was right in front of my door. His face was turned toward me, but I couldn't see it clearly in the dark. Then he leaned forward, reached for the handle, and knocked. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Solid survival instinct. Keep it up. He knocked again. I stood right behind the door. Only a few inches separated us. He was outside. I was inside. And I wasn't opening it. I was doing exactly what the letter said. The man waited. 1 minute, 2. Then he stepped back. I heard his footsteps again, moving away, heading upstairs, back to the 6th floor. Yep. Nothing weird about a man with a strict knocking schedule. I didn't sleep at all that night. Sunday morning, I called Michael. Did he come to your door too? Yeah, I didn't open it. You? I didn't either. I wonder what everyone else did. In the afternoon, we visited Carol. She hadn't opened it. James and Laura hadn't either. So who did? Carol asked. And that's the question nobody wants answered. We all looked at each other. Then it hit me. Thomas. Thomas on the 5th floor. He hadn't received any letters. Maybe he was the one who opened the door. We went upstairs. We knocked on his door. No answer. Knocked again. Still nothing. Maybe he's not home, Michael said. But I noticed something on the floor in front of the door. A small red stain. Faint but visible. I bent down to look closer. Was it blood? Get Norman, I said. He should have a spare key. Norman came with the key. We opened the door. The place was dark. We turned on the light. Thomas wasn't there. The apartment was empty, but everything was a mess. Chairs knocked over, things scattered on the floor, broken glass in the kitchen. And on the floor were drops of blood, small ones, leading all the way to the door. Laura screamed. James tried to calm her down. Michael and I stepped inside. The bedroom door was closed. We went up to it and pushed it open. Thomas was lying on the bed, not moving. We ran to him. I checked his pulse. Nothing. His skin was ice cold. He was dead. The police came. The ambulance came. They took Thomas's body away. They questioned us. When we last saw him, when we spoke to him, what we thought happened, the doctor said heart attack, natural causes, but I wasn't convinced. Those blood drops, the wrecked apartment, that didn't look like a heart attack. We told the police about the letters, showed them. They didn't care. Just a prank, they said, nothing important. But we knew. The letters were warnings, and Thomas had opened his door. We saw what happened. No one slept that night. Everyone in the building locked their doors, added chains. I even shut my windows. But the letters didn't stop. Monday morning there was another envelope. This time it said, "Who's next?" Cold sweat ran down my back. Who's next? What was that supposed to mean? Thomas was dead, so who was the next one? I talked to Michael. He had gotten the same letter. Carol, James, Laura, all of them had. "Where's Evelyn?" Michael said. "She never gets the letters. Maybe she knows something." We went down to the 1st floor, knocked on her door. No answer. Knocked again. Still nothing. "We need to break the door," I said. We called Norman. He brought the key. We went inside. Evelyn was there, but she was dead. Sitting in her armchair, eyes open, mouth slightly parted. A teacup was in her hand. She hadn't even dropped it. We called the police again. They came again, asked questions again. This time they took it seriously. 2 deaths in 2 days. They searched the building, collected the letters, went up to the 6th floor. But the 6th floor apartment was empty. No one lived there. No furniture, no signs of anyone, nothing. Had Norman lied, or was he mistaken? "I gave him the key, I swear," Norman said. But there was no record, no signature, no paperwork, nothing. The man was like a ghost. The police put the building under protection. They said they would have someone on night duty. But I didn't trust it. I wasn't staying there that night. Michael and I booked a hotel and went together, but the letter still came. At the hotel, slipped under my door. I found it at dawn, same envelope. Inside, "You can't run." I ran to Michael's room. He had one too. Same message. I couldn't understand it. Who was doing this? How were they finding us, and why? We couldn't stay in the hotel any longer. We went back to the building. The police were still there. They asked questions, but we didn't learn anything. "Who else lives in the building?" the officer asked. "Just us," I said. "Michael, me, Carol, James, and his wife Laura, and Norman, of course. He's the caretaker." "No one else?" "No, but something was missing. I was forgetting something." "What was it?" "That night no letter came, but the door was knocked on. At 11, talk, talk, talk. This time I was ready. I had a knife in my hand. I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. The man in the gray suit was standing there, but this time I could see his face clearly. It wasn't a stranger. I knew him. It was Thomas, but Thomas was dead. I had seen his body. They had taken him to the morgue. How was this possible? That's not exactly something you want to rethink at night. The man knocked again, and then he spoke. For the first time. "Open the door," he said. "Open it." His voice was rough, almost blocked, as if something was stuck in his throat. It sounded awful. I stepped back, held the knife tight. But I didn't open the door. The man waited, then he left. The next morning I met with Michael. "It was Thomas," I said. "He was standing at my door." "That's impossible. Thomas is dead." "I know, but I saw him. It was him." "Maybe someone who looks like him? A brother, maybe?" "Thomas didn't have a brother. He lived alone. We told the police. They didn't believe us." "You're stressed," they said. "You're seeing things." But I wasn't seeing things. It was Thomas. I am sure of it. I didn't go to work that day. I decided to stay in the building. I wanted to check everything while it was daytime. The sixth floor, the basement, every corner. Michael joined me. We started together. First, we went down to the basement. Old furniture, broken chairs, washing machines. Dusty, damp, cold. But something stood out. There was a small wooden door in the wall, no lock. We opened it. Inside was a tunnel. A narrow, dark passage. I turned on my flashlight and we walked in. Because nothing bad has ever happened after a sentence like that. The tunnel was long. The stone walls were damp and cold. We walked a few meters until we reached a small square room. In the center was a table. On it, an old typewriter, yellowed keys, ancient model. Next to it were envelopes, stacks of them, yellowed, unstamped envelopes. "This is it," Michael said. "This is where the letters are coming from." I opened the drawer of the table. Inside were sheets of paper, typed sheets, all with the same sentence. "Don't open your door tonight." But at the very bottom, there was something else. An old photograph, black and white. A young man stood in it, handsome, wearing a gray suit. Behind him was our building, the same building. I flipped the photo over. There was a date, 1955, and a name, Harold Winters. "Who is this?" Michael asked. "I don't know, but we're going to find out." We went upstairs and found Norman. I showed him the photo. "Do you know this man?" I asked. Norman looked at it. His face changed. "Harold," he said. "That's Harold." "Who is he?" "The original owner of the building. He had it built in 1955. He lived here, on the sixth floor. But one night he disappeared." "Disappeared?" "Yes. They found his door open, but he was gone. The police searched everywhere but never found him. No signs, no trace. It was like he vanished." "When was this?" 1958, a long time ago. Since then, the sixth floor has stayed empty. No one has ever lived up there." "But you said you gave someone the key last month. Who did you give it to?" Norman swallowed. "I don't know. I can't remember, but maybe it was him. Maybe it was Harold." "That's impossible. He disappeared in 1958. This is 1979, 21 years later. He would be old by now." "But the man we saw—" "He looked young," Norman said. "Just like in the photo." I felt chills run through me. That night Michael and I made a plan. We were going up to the sixth floor. We would open the door and see whatever was inside. At 9 we got ready. We took our flashlights. We took the spare key from the caretaker. Then we went upstairs. The sixth floor was silent. There was only one door, 6A. We stood in front of it and listened. There were sounds inside. Little taps, faint rustling, always a great sign before entering a place you shouldn't. We put the key in, opened the door. Inside was dark. We switched on our flashlights. The apartment was empty. No furniture. Just dust and spiderwebs. But in the middle of the room, there was something. A table. And on the table, a typewriter. The same kind of typewriter. Not the one from the basement. A different one, but the exact same model. "Who's using these things?" Michael said. We moved into the bedroom. The room was empty, too. But there was an old rug on the floor. We lifted it. Underneath was a wooden hatch. We opened it. Under it was a staircase, going down. Long, dark, and deep. Fantastic. Another staircase to bad decisions. "Does it go there?" Michael asked. "I think so." We started down. The stairs went on for a long time. We had no idea where they led. Eventually we reached a room. But this room was different, wide, with stone walls. And in the center something stood. A well, surrounded by iron bars. We walked up to it, looked down. It was dark. It looked extremely deep. We dropped a stone. It took a long time before we heard it hit something. "What is this?" Michael said. "I don't know, but..." Behind us we heard footsteps. We turned. The man in the gray suit was standing there. Harold Winters. But he wasn't young anymore. His face had aged, wrinkled, rotted. His eyes were empty. His mouth hung half open. "Great. The building's vintage ghost has finally clocked in." "Why did you come here?" he said. "Why didn't you open the door?" "Who are you?" I asked. "Are you Harold Winters?" The man nodded. "I was, a long time ago, but now I'm something else." "What do you want from us?" "I want you to open the door. When I come at night, I want you to open it, because I need to come in. I need to feed." "Feed? What does that mean?" The man smiled. A horrible smile. "I came from this well. I fell a long time ago. I died. But I came back. Because someone opened the door. Someone let me in, and now I'm here. And I'm starving." Michael and I looked at each other. We had to run. But the man was blocking the stairs. "You killed Thomas," I said. "And Evelyn." "Yes, because they opened the door. Both of them opened it, and I came in. I took their lives. I fed." "What about the letters? Why send them?" "Because that's the game. I warn you. I say don't open your door. But someone always does. Someone always opens it. And then I take them. But we didn't. We're not opening it." The man stepped closer. "Then you'll stay here. With me. In the well." Michael shouted. He tried to run, but the man was fast. He lunged at Michael, grabbed him, and squeezed his throat. I swung my flashlight and hit him. His head, his shoulder, anywhere I could reach. It didn't do anything. The man dragged Michael toward the well, pushed him through the bars. Michael screamed. He fell. His voice faded, then disappeared. That's the moment you know the night just got worse. Michael was gone. He had fallen into the well, and I was alone. The man turned to me. "You're next," he said. Straightforward. Gotta appreciate the honesty. But I was ready. I pulled the knife from my pocket and attacked him. I drove it into his chest. The man stopped, looked down, then laughed. "That won't work," he said. "I'm already dead." Yeah, he really didn't have to say it out loud. We got the memo. He pulled the knife out and dropped it to the floor. Then he grabbed me, his hands wrapped around my throat. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred. With the last bit of strength I had, I kicked the iron bars of the well. The man staggered, lost his balance, and we fell together into the well, because falling into a haunted pit is always a team activity. I screamed as we dropped. The air was freezing, the darkness endless. We kept falling, falling, like it would never stop. Then we hit something, a hard surface. Pain shot through my whole body, but I was alive. I was at the bottom of the well. It was completely dark. My flashlight was gone. I couldn't see anything, like I was blind, but I could feel things around me. Bones. Human bones. Yep. Classic horror basement decor. I called out for Michael. "Michael!" I shouted. "Michael, where are you?" No answer. Silence. Always the worst reply. Then a cold hand touched me. It grabbed me and started pulling. I screamed. I fought back. But it was strong. It dragged me across the bones. Pulled me somewhere. Yep. Nothing gentle ever lives at the bottom of a well. Then, far away, I saw a light. I was being pulled toward it. The light got closer, and I saw a tunnel. At the end of the tunnel, a glow, a door. I reached it, pushed it open, and stepped through. I was somewhere familiar. The lobby of the apartment building. But it looked different, old, worn down, like years had passed, always comforting when your home suddenly ages without you. I stood up and walked outside. I was on the street, but the street was different too. The cars were old models. The people wore different clothes. What was happening? I saw a newspaper vendor. I walked over. "What day is it today?" I asked. "November 15th, he said. 1979. But I'm already in 1979. "Yes," he said. "Today is November 15th, 1979. I understood. I had come back from the well. But where exactly had I returned to? The same time, or somewhere else inside it? Time travel? Through a well? Sure. Why not? I went back to the building. Norman was at the entrance. He saw me. "Who are you?" he asked. I live here, in 4B. "No one lives in 4B. That apartment is empty." "But I live there." Norman shook his head. "No, 4B is empty. Someone lived there last month, but they moved out." I couldn't understand. What had happened to me? Where was I? Amazing. You climb out of a nightmare hole, and reality is somehow worse. I went upstairs, reached the 4th floor, went to my door, put the key in. It opened. I stepped inside. The apartment was empty. My things were gone. Everything was gone. That's when I understood. When I fell into the well, something happened. Time had shifted. Or I had. I wasn't here anymore. Not the same way. But the letters kept coming. Because I saw one. In my mailbox. Yellow, no stamp, no name. I opened it. Inside was the same message. "Don't open your door tonight." And that night, someone knocked on my door. Years passed. I don't know how many. Maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe more. Time moves strangely here. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow. But the building stays the same. Norman stays the same. The letters keep coming. And every night someone knocks. I'm used to it now. I don't open the door. I never open it. Because I know what happens if I do. If I open it, he'll come in. He'll take me. He'll drag me back to the well. But others open it. New tenants move in. They get the letters, they're warned. And they open it. Someone always opens it, and they disappear. I'm still here, because I can't leave. This place is my prison, my hell. But sometimes I think, maybe I'm one of them now. Maybe I died too. Maybe I never got out of the well. Maybe I'm still falling. And maybe that's why I'm the one sending the letters. Maybe I'm the one warning people. Don't open your door tonight. Because I know what happens. I know because I lived it, but no one listens. No one ever listens. Today I found an envelope, not in my mailbox, right in front of my door. Yellow, no stamp, no name. But this time the message was different. Now it's your turn. My hands shook. The paper slipped from my fingers. What did that mean? My turn? But I never opened the door, not once. That night someone knocked. But this time it was different. This time the knocking didn't stop. It kept going. We're getting close to the end. I walked up to the door, looked through the peephole. Harold Winters was standing there, but he wasn't alone. Thomas, Evelyn, Michael, they were all there, all of them staring at me. Well, that's a reunion nobody asked for. Open the door, they said, all together. Open the door, it's your turn. I stepped back, but the door opened on its own, as if there was no lock at all, and they came inside. Now I'm one of them. I'm in the well, at the bottom, in the dark, surrounded by bones. Congratulations, you've unlocked the worst neighborhood, but sometimes I climb up the stairs, to the 6th floor, then down again. To the 4th floor, the 3rd, the 2nd, and I knock on doors. I wait. Someone always opens, someone always does. And when they do, I go inside, I feed. I live a little longer, because that's how it works here. Everyone is hungry, everyone is dead, but still moving. They come out of the well, they walk through the building, they look for new tenants, new lives to take. And they send the letters, they warn you. Don't open your door tonight. But no one listens. No one ever listens. People really should start reading their mail, so if you ever find a yellow envelope in your mailbox or on your doorstep, and inside it says, "Don't open your door tonight," please listen. Don't open it. No matter what. You won't get a second warning, because I'll be there. Right outside your door, waiting, and if you open it, I'll come in, I'll take you, I'll drag you down to the well, and you'll become one of us, forever. I'm sorry for telling you this story, but I had to. Someone needed to know. Someone needed to be warned. Maybe you're different. Maybe you'll listen. Maybe you won't open the door, but I know how it goes. In the end, someone always opens it. Someone always does. And we'll be here, waiting, forever. But hey, buddy, if you open it anyway, don't blame me. Good night.